When you think of the most impressive assets in the U.S. military arsenal, stealth bombers, destroyers, and tanks are probably what first comes to mind. But now, we might just radically shift your perspective. New attack submarines are being built for the U.S. military, particularly the Virginia-class Block V submarines. These submarines are not only powerful but also have nuclear attack capabilities. The first Virginia-class submarines were planned in 1991 as a cost-effective replacement for the Seawolf class of submarines, which cost around $1 billion more per unit. While development was slow at first due to a number of technological obstacles, the first wave, or block, of Virginia-class submarines was commissioned between 2004 and 2008. Since then, a new block has been commissioned every 4 to 6 years, with the first Block IV submarine entering service in April 2020. So, what really makes these submarines so impressive? An analysis of the first Block IV submarine, the USS Vermont, says it all. It's the third naval vessel to be named after the Green Mountain State. The first Vermont was a 74-gun warship authorized by Congress way back in 1816, and the second Vermont was Battleship No. 20, commissioned in 1907. The new USS Vermont is the first of 10 planned Virginia-class Block IV submarines. It is 377 feet long, has a 34-foot beam, and can dive to depths greater than 800 feet, although its maximum depth is classified. When submerged, it can operate at speeds in excess of 25 knots and has a displacement of 7,800 tons when fully loaded, with a 132-person crew. Additionally, like every Virginia-class submarine before it, the USS Vermont is powered by an advanced nuclear reactor. While these physical metrics don't make it the largest or fastest submarine in the world, it is by far the world's most technologically advanced nuclear attack submarine. This is due to its impressive onboard devices. For example, the submarine uses a unified modular mast rather than a collection of several masts. This is highly useful because a unified mast acts as an all-in-one tool for sensing the submarine's surroundings, navigating water bodies, communicating with home base, and detecting enemy communications and radar. It also has an advanced pump jet propulsor, which is superior to traditional bladed propellers because it reduces the risk of cavitation and is significantly quieter. These two features are topped off by an electronic ship control system, an advanced command and control system module, a strong auxiliary generator, a modernized integrated combat system to improve the submarine's warfare capabilities, an advanced electromagnetic silencing system to detect magnetic mines, and a 9-man lockout chamber that acts as a small detachable submarine to increase its enemy detection and communication abilities. The submarine also has an impressive sonar system. The first component of the system is the Large Aperture Bow (LAB) sonar array, which provides enhanced passive detection capabilities. The second is a Wide Aperture Lightweight Fiber Optic sonar array, which provides sonar sensor input to the submarine's combat system. The third is a pair of high-frequency active sonar systems mounted in the sail and bow, which enable safer operation in coastal waters, enhance under-ice navigation, and improve anti-submarine warfare performance. The fourth component is a low-cost conformal array high-frequency sonar, which provides high-frequency coverage above and behind the submarine. The final components are a TB-34 Fatline Tactical Towed Sonar Array and a TB-33 Thinline Long-Range Search Towed Sonar Array, both of which act as acoustic sensors to give the submarine ears in the area surrounding it. In short, this rather complicated sonar system is so effective that it can reportedly detect enemy ships as far as 3,000 miles away. Yet, all of this technology doesn't even include the submarine's heavy-hitting armaments, which consist of several Tomahawk cruise missiles and a number of Mark 48 advanced capability torpedoes. These torpedoes can be launched from one of 4 torpedo launch systems, and the missiles from either one of 12 vertical launch systems or one of 2 Virginia payload tubes. Interestingly, the Virginia payload tubes, in particular, will likely be equipped with Global Strike missiles, consisting of a common hypersonic glide body and a 34.5-inch, 2-stage booster. The Navy claims that these missiles can hit any target in the world in the span of just 1 hour. If this is to be believed, it would mean that the missiles can travel in the Mach 10 to Mach 20 range, which equates to a speed of 7,600 to 15,200 miles per hour. This will potentially make the USS Vermont a massive game-changer in future conflicts. But these impressive submarines come at a price. The new Block V submarines equipped with the Virginia payload module cost a hefty $3.4 billion per unit, and the future Block V submarines are projected to cost about $2.45 billion per unit, with the Virginia payload module being a large factor in this high price. The reason why it's so expensive is due to its sheer size and capability. Coming in at 84 feet and built into the hull, this massive module is comprised of 4 payload tubes that can store as many as 28 Tomahawk cruise missiles, adding up to a grand total of 40 cruise missiles when including the submarine's bow tubes. This is a massive upgrade to the submarine's firepower. These modules are meant to make the Virginia-class submarines an effective replacement for the SSGN guided missile submarines, which are slated to enter retirement. Thus, the importance of the Block V submarines and their Virginia payload modules cannot be understated. As Rear Admiral David Goggins put it, these submarines represent a generational leap in submarine capability for the Navy. These design changes will enable the fleet to maintain our nation's undersea dominance. However, these costs may soon be justified. This is because the U.S. Navy has big plans for the Virginia-class submarines. Unlike their predecessors, these submarines will not only be powered by nuclear energy but will also use nuclear energy in their weapons. Now, that's not to say other submarines before the Block V have not used nuclear weapons. For example, the U.S. government admitted to test launching 1 to 2 low-yield nuclear warheads from an Ohio-class submarine, the USS Tennessee, in 2018. Additionally, attaching nuclear weapons to seaborne vessels, be it a ship or submarine, is nothing new. In fact, about 22% of the United States nuclear arsenal is currently at sea. However, it is U.S. policy to neither confirm nor deny the presence of nuclear weapons aboard its vessels. But the U.S. plans for Block V go far beyond simple nuclear missiles. While it's likely that nuclear missiles will be on board future submarines, what is more impressive is that the Navy plans on attaching nuclear-powered lasers to them. While this may sound like something out of a Star Wars movie, it's closer to reality than one might think. We were even surprised because typically, lasers don't work well underwater. However, these lasers, which are expected to be about 300 to 500 kilowatts in strength, will come from a nuclear reactor that generates about 30 megawatts of power. With this high-energy laser being mounted on the unified mast system, the submarine's power source is not only more than sufficient but strong enough to ensure that the laser's beam won't dissipate underwater. This high-energy laser is effective because it's a useful replacement for torpedoes or missiles when fighting against swarms of smaller targets such as a group of enemy drones, speedboats, or anti-submarine helicopters. This laser weapon would give the submarine a big advantage in situations where missiles or torpedoes would be ineffective. With all this going on, it shouldn't come as much of a surprise that many countries outside of NATO have not been too fond of the recent test launches and weapon developments within the United States submarine programs. Russia has been the most outspoken critic of the program, yet even members of Congress were split over the issue. However, just like with any political clash, there are two sides to the story. The crux of the United States' argument for low-yield nuclear weapons has been based on their use as a defense mechanism. For example, John Rood, the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, said that the deployment of low-yield nuclear warheads lowers the risk of nuclear war by helping dissuade Russia from initiating a limited nuclear conflict. This sentiment is echoed by General Hyten of the U.S. Army, who stated that the adversaries of the United States believe the deployment of a low-yield nuclear weapon would not be responded to by NATO or the United States. Therefore, he believes that the first role of that weapon would be to act as a deterrent. This reasoning makes sense to a point. After all, American adversaries such as Russia and China are known to have a stockpile of low-yield nuclear weapons. Therefore, if the U.S. or one of its allies were to be attacked by one, it would be appropriate for the U.S. to have a stock of them in order to appropriately respond. However, in the same meeting, General Hyten was asked whether the U.S. would have targets in mind for these weapons, and General Hyten responded that, "I'll just say for the record that yes, there is." This is concerning because it exposes the willingness of the United States to use those weapons not just defensively but perhaps offensively. Additionally, Moscow has repeatedly rejected U.S. allegations that Russia was considering a nuclear conflict. After all, Russia has argued that a limited nuclear conflict would inevitably escalate into a full-blown nuclear war. Therefore, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov has called it very alarming that the U.S. views a low